What's going on, guys? This is Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ back in for another great episode. In today's episode, we're talking about real deal issues or overreactions, people. So let me explain it quickly about what I'm saying. So we have Carlos Hyde signing in Jacksonville. Is this a real deal issue to James Robinson, or is this just an overreaction that people are just going to sell James Robinson and they're just freaking out? Or is it a real deal issue and Marlon Mack re-signing with the Colts doesn't hurt JT? So this is what today's episode is about. Hope you guys enjoy it, and let's get right into the episode. So if you are living under a rock, free agency has been going on for about a week and a half. These guys are getting signed. Some teams are signing people that we don't know why they're signing them. Some people are going out and getting their guys, which is great to see. It's getting exciting now. Now things are starting to cook up. The draft is around the corner, so a lot of things are going to be moving around. Rankings will be adjusted. I guarantee it. Rankings will be adjusted in the next couple of weeks. So there's guys that I really feel like it's a real deal issue or it's just an overreaction. Everybody's just tripping for no reason. So first up, like I mentioned before, Marlon Mack re-signing with the Colts. Does this really hurt JT? Is this an overreaction or is this a real deal issue? And honestly, to me, I feel like this isn't the real deal issue, only being that the Colts have a man crush on Marlon Mack. And they're living and breathing off of him going back-to-back seasons with 1K. And I think it's impressive for him to put up 1,000 yards, but you're probably thinking, how is this an issue for JT after them seeing he can handle the full workload? Only being that they're going to want to get, Marlon Mack involved probably early in the season. We're probably going to see a little bit of what we saw. JT is going to turn into the Derrick Henry story to where, a slow start and then he just kills it in the playoffs, which I'm fine with. This is not saying it's a real deal issue where I will not draft JT. I just don't feel comfortable drafting JT the back end of the first round now with Marlon Mack there being the pest. And I definitely think we need to take that into account. Marlon Mack isn't there just to be there. He is a nice backup to JT. And the thing is, being a backup, we could see a 60-40 split, or we could see a 1A, 1B situation here, which I am not okay with. I'm not okay with at all with Marlon Mack there. I really want him to sign elsewhere. He honestly probably had a market out there solo, but he definitely wanted to prove himself, but I don't think him re-signing with the Colts didn't really make sense for him and the Colts to be wasting money on him. I definitely think he's going to get hurt again. That's the only thing that is like lingering in the back of my mind. And I think everybody else's mind that eventually he will be hurt. And then JT will get back to, business and going out, handling the full workload. Nyheim Hines still there as well, handling the pass catching ability and still handling some red zone, targets and goal line, touches that we saw last season, which was annoying as well. But man, this is an issue. This is something I won't take lightly when Marlon Mack signing back. JT value doesn't plummet. It doesn't, just straight go down the hell. It's fine. It's okay. It's just something to keep on your mind when you go into draft day or having him going into, week one. But, man, this is a real deal issue. I definitely don't like Marlon Mack resigning. That is something I did not see coming, to be honest. So next up, Marvin Jones signing with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Is this a real deal action or overreaction? No, I think this is a real deal issue, people. I don't think this is an issue to where, Chenault is completely shunned out of his hype train, which is fine. I think they're just adding weapons, for Trevor Lawrence or whoever they pick, to have, guys that are seasoned, guys that are ready there to ball out. DJ Chark there is still as well. I don't think that trade rumor is real. That could have been some idiot on Twitter just making up stuff, but DJ Chark is there for now. Chenault, we're wanting him to pop off. I know Urban Meyer is going to be able to use him, put him in space, and utilize his skill players and put them in the best positions. But Marvin Jones there does take a little bit of those targets that we were hoping Chenault to get 100% of, or even DJ Chark. So he has a three-man wide receiver core who guys are very capable of catching the ball and making big plays. I know you're probably thinking Marvin Jones is 31. He's almost 32. He's getting old. He's getting out of date. Last season, let me know that Marvin Jones is still out there catching balls and he's still chugging and he's still putting up, good wide receiver 2/flex numbers week to week, which I can deal with, which I'm okay with. So him going to the Jags, I definitely think he becomes a factor and he comes a little hit to Chenault's value as well. I definitely don't think, you sleep on Marvin Jones next season. I definitely don't think that he can end up, being wide receiver one of that team. I'm not saying that, but he can contribute to the point where he starts cutting into these guys' targets and, cutting into some of these touches. The only upside that Chenault has is that he is quick. He has the rushing ability as well. He's going to be in open space, screens, et cetera, et cetera. That's going to be his role where he can make the big plays. That's why I'm not too worried. I'm not too scared about taking Chenault, but I just want to keep in mind that Marvin Jones is there as a veteran who is very capable of still playing football, people. So it is an issue, but it's not really that big of an issue to where I need to overreact and just be like, oh, yeah, don't worry about Marvin Jones. I'm not worried about it, man. He's good. He's good. But no, Marvin Jones is there to ball out, people, and I definitely am excited to see him fall to me in the 12th, 13th round because everybody's going to forget about him because he doesn't play for Detroit anymore, and he still puts up wide receiver 2 numbers. Can't wait for that. Next guy that I'm going to cover, Jamaal Williams, man. Him signing with Detroit. Is this an overreaction or is it a real deal issue? And I can 100% tell you this is an overreaction. Everybody's tripping out. Everybody's saying, Swift is done. Swift hype train. How you feeling, Swift owners? Blah, 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 blah. I am not a big DeAndre Swift fan. I definitely thought they were going to bring somebody in for that 1-2 punch that Lynn loves. He definitely loves his 1-2 punch. I already explained it, with Melvin Gordon, Eckler, and et cetera, et cetera. I definitely think Jamaal Williams wasn't the guy that I thought they were going to go get to actually be somebody to compete with, Swift. I think Swift is overall fine. We saw Jamaal Williams in that role with Aaron Jones, and he barely got it done. I really feel like Williams is going to be injured anyway. He's facing injury with a very limited role that he had in Green Bay, and it's like, how? What are you doing to be hurt all the time? So I definitely don't think this is anything to really worry about. I don't think Jamaal Williams has any standalone fantasy value. I don't think you go out and draft him. I definitely think you keep him on the waivers and you keep your eye on him, put him on your watch list. I don't think week to week he's going to be putting up any relevant points, and you don't know. The draft is still around the corner. Maybe they do draft a running back, and maybe that hurts Williams more so than Swift because it kind of just puts Williams out of the way completely. And that offense is probably going to look awful next season, honestly, with Goff there and not many other, let's say, options are there at wide receiver because Galladay's gone and Marvin Jones is gone. That's all we really known when it came to wide receivers for Detroit. But again, I really am not tripping out over this Jamaal Williams. I think everybody's overreacting. I think everybody's just shutting Swift out for the simple fact they want to, or they're haters of him, or whatever the case may be. So I'm not really listening to that noise. So that's overreaction. Just moving on. So next up, I got James Robinson, man. People are really tripping out about this Carlos Hyde, signing. I'm not tripping. This is not a real deal issue, people. This is just an overreaction. The public tripping. If you were worried about Carlos Hyde coming in and trying to be the guy and be pestering, et cetera. We saw him last year. He wasn't really that much of a factor to Chris Carson, even though Carson faces some injuries slightly. Carlos Hyde didn't step up to be the guy that we all wished he could be to take over the job, but that's never happening. That's not going to happen here, with James Robinson. They saw how capable he is. They saw that he can get the job done. He's very much of a playmaker as well. So Carlos Hyde coming in, if you're in a league where you have somebody who has James Robinson on their team and they're worried right now, go send that offer because I guarantee you're going to be able to go get him. You're going to go get him, and you're going to be the one smiling and laughing at him at the end of the season when James Robinson finishes inside the top 10. So I definitely think this is an overreaction, people. I wouldn't lose sleep over a Carlos Hyde behind James Robinson right now. In the long term, we all know Dynasty, James Robinson, he's going to be the guy until he is not the guy. So I definitely think this is nothing to signal the red flags to get rid of James Robinson. This is clearly just a veteran signing and nothing more to that. Next up, we got Kyle Rudolph, him signing to the Giants. And, shout out to Kenny G finding his way over there in New York, really New Jersey. I'm not going to start that argument, but they play in New Jersey. But anyway, Kenny G is there. Kyle Rudolph signs. I definitely think this is an overreaction. People tripping out over the Kyle Rudolph signing and Evan Ingram value. But Evan Ingram's on a contract year, so they brought in Kyle Rudolph. Maybe he's the replacement. Who knows? I just don't see that, fully happening. But Kyle Rudolph is a better blocker than Evan Ingram, so I definitely think he's there for protection as well for Danny Dimes, so Danny Dimes can get some time behind the line and actually make some big plays with his new toys. So I definitely think Kyle Rudolph being there, that's nothing to really worry about as well. Evan Ingram still has his upside. Still one of the sleepers that I think can pop off this season now with the addition of Kenny G, and then he can open up the middle of the field and make some big plays. if he catches the ball. So I don't think Kyle Rudolph is coming in to really try to take Evan Ingram's job. They're going to have their roles. They're going to have their jobs. Maybe Kyle Rudolph will see him pop up in the red zone. He gets like 2 to 3 touchdowns for the end of the year, which is fine. That's whatever. I just don't think week to week we could see Kyle Rudolph being fantasy relevant. So with that being said, and with him not being fantasy relevant, nothing to really worry about here for the Evan Ingram lovers, truthers, or owners, or whatever the case may be. So I wouldn't trip out about this at all. I'm not losing sleep over no Kyle Rudolph, who's on the back end of his career, who probably are going to retire in the next year or two. So there's that, man. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. That's all I really got for you. These were some of the key points that I saw on, fantasy Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc., and just the media as well. People overreacting, and then some people taking some of these signings a little too lightly because they are real deal issues, people. These are something that you need to keep your eye on. Just keep them on the watch list, etc., etc. So hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you guys next week for another great episode of Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ. Peace.